Alright everyone, good morning. Wherever you are, can I please hear good morning back? Even with your back towards me. Good morning. Everyone, may I please request you to please put your mobiles on the silent mode. And once again, I request you all, if we are the few people in the hall who are here for the opening session, I request everyone to not sit at the back, move up a little front, so that the one who's coming up on the stage also feels nice while addressing a full audience. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the very productive day 3 of the Cashew India Buyer Ceremony 2023. I am your host for the Buyer Ceremony, Jhawar. And as I address you all for the final day, I would like to start by yet again thanking our very generous and our supportive sponsors for this event. This event is organized by CashewInformation.com. Our title sponsor this year has been Cashew. The platinum sponsor has been Tropical Industries International Private Limited. The preferred technology partners are Nanopix. Preferred logistics partner are VRL Logistics Limited. Preferred processing partner CMV. Our preferred sorting partner is Best Smart Solution. Our welcome cocktail dinner on day 1 was sponsored by PJS. Last night's gala cocktail dinner, which I'm sure everyone will remember quite vividly, and I'm sure some of us are already feeling the hangover, when that amazing dinner was brought to us by Praveer. The delegate kit sponsor has been Mayor. The Landgrant sponsor is Torp. Delegate batch sponsor is Macworld, Mr. Mac. Our lunch sponsor is Cotton and Cashmere Council of Ivory Coast. Our associate sponsors have been Agrocom, DVK, classic sponsors have been Immense Technopress LLP, Spectrum, and SSS International Expo Private Limited. We've been lucky to have quite a few state cashew associations that have partnered with us, and those organizations are Karnataka State Cashew Manufacturers Association, Tamil Nadu Cashew Processors and Exporters Association, TNCPA, Gujarat Cashew Processors Association, the Palasa Cashew Manufacturers Association, Bengal Cashew Association that was earlier known as Contai, the Goa Cashew Manufacturers Association, Maharashtra Cashew Manufacturers Association, Odisha Cashew Processors Association, Andhra Pradesh Cashew Manufacturers Association, Jaipur Cashew Association and Telangana Cashew Association. Now can I ask you to please start with a bit of warm-up and give a cumulative round of applause for all these things that I've taken over the last 5 minutes. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, last year we had a presentation by NSE on how listed builds companies in the SME segment to gain visibility and raise capital. Today, as we are ready for the first presentation of the day, well, the cashew industry as a whole in India, the cashew ecosystem as a whole in India witnessed something quite momentous. We witnessed Proventus Agrocom Limited going for a public listing in 2023. It opens doors of potential and opportunities for a lot of other companies and stakeholders in this commodity. And the question is that why did Proventus choose to go public? In order to talk to us a little bit more about it and throw some more light on this, I'd like to invite Mr. Deepak Agarwal, the Chief Business Officer for Proventus. And as I invite him on the stage, before he takes the podium, let me tell you that Mr. Agarwal started his career at Edelweiss Capital in November 2005 after finishing his MMS from Devi Ahilya Vishwavidyalaya. After being with Ambience, Deepak joined Proventus in 2015 and presently he is the Director and Chief Business Officer at Proventus Agrocom. As I invite him on the stage, ladies and gentlemen, hear closely, ask questions, let's see what this presentation and what this development in the cashew industry can do for you as a cashew stakeholder in India. Please put your hands up to Mr. Deepak Agarwal.
Good morning, industry colleagues and friends. Thank you. me and the eventually Google team for, like close to a year, and, took a lot of planning and lot of, good financial practices and everything, to get around. And before we, give more details, before I give more details on this thing, I'd like to tell you a little bit about Proventus and, Provi Food, the subsidiary that, we work on. So, this is like one of the companies started in 2015, where three of us, Harim Khanna, DP Jhawar and myself, started as Edelweiss and started this journey. We had a lot of things in our mind, starting from gold to pulses, which was our earlier experience with Edelweiss. So, a lot of things in mind, but limited capital that we had. It's a shift of capital and limited resources. A great move to be a little bit tough for us, with all you veterans here. Almonds look a little easy. We started with almonds and, started adding on, products from there on. From there on, then, we added like other nuts, which is like a normal course for most of the companies, like walnuts or pistachios. And by 2019, and we had this realization that, branded healthy snacking, what we call it nowadays, is a space to be in, this healthy snacking branded space. So, Provi, we started this thing, the brand is Provi, which we worked on. This is the whole theme around it. I'll not take much time here, I'll move around. The theme around Provi. And 2019, we realized we have to work on this and, we started working around it. Before that, I would say, we had a lot of exposure around the DFN industry by supplying it to most of the modern retail players, playing it around with the GT, selling it there, and that happened. So the distribution was in place. Most of the super stockists that we have for the brand, our core strength is still the distributors that we got from our general trade wholesale business. And this is how, we spread across the country. This is the range we have. We have like few ranges where from Eagle to other premium to the economy range. And, this is the products that we have. Yeah, so 99, the sole focus of the management, shifted on the brand. And on that, we had like few industry veterans and we had like roped in the brand ambassador Sanjeev Kapoor as, brand consultant also. And has like KS Narayanan, who is like ex-McKinsey CEO. He is like on board for us for guiding us through this whole FMCG conversion stage or the branding stage. So this is how, we moved on to the branding space. Why IPO? We needed funds for growth. That was the agenda, and we wanted some de-risking of the overall leverage and the capital. So it's not that we didn't try other options. We had a few PE and venture capitalists meeting overall, and through the meetings we realized that eventually all the PE funds or the venture capitalists, their end aim is to take a stake, handhold you through the whole process, and eventually get to an IPO. So even if you talk to the friends here who may have this meeting with other venture capitalists, the eventual aim of all these people is, they want it to handhold you and get you to an IPO so that a published exposure is there. With the experience of the team that we had, actually directly, indirectly, we had already done this thing for many companies, with Edelweiss. Like DP Jhawar was individually involved in many IPO funding and also. That was the product that actually was developed by him in Edelweiss. So, coming from my Edelweiss background, stock market background, we tried to explore that option. Why not, straight away go for the IPO? And this is how, a couple of weeks of deliberation and somewhere around June 2022 to maybe August somewhere, 2 months, and then we thought, okay, let's go ahead and, try to do this thing where, you get listed on the exchange. And Ankush Jain, our CFO, he has been in the markets for long. He was the guy who kind of handled us through the whole process. He was the in charge with DP Jhawar of the whole process. And, the process started. What is must have, if you want to do this is, you have to have a very healthy financial practices within the company, because the scrutiny around when you go through all the SEBI guidelines and all the NSE guidelines are pretty tough. Your books has to be immaculate in terms of, getting it to be there. Then corporate governance. little bit of market experience, I think, either you can rely on some consultant or you can have a little bit of knowledge of your own. So a little bit of your experience obviously helps. So this is what we thought, and we move ahead with it. And 24th May 2023, we came up with the IPO. It was like for 2 days, and it got listed on 5th June. What I can say is it happened with the minimal, marketing effort from the company. We are very, conjuice, I'll say in that terms, that we don't want to spend on something that we don't believe in. So we thought if the value is there, it will float eventually. And the process was fast, like within a month from getting approval from NSE, everything sailed through. So with limited marketing expenditure, we got the money we wanted from the investors, and eventually on 5th June we listed, and the shares are doing okay right now. It has made money for most of the retail investors. So what happened? The response was very good, and like I told you, what happened, was the upside of an IPO. We thought, like, this is the normal thing. This is like the access to the capital and all the other thing that get growth capital and all. This is the same with all any other, like a PA or a venture capital funding. But what, I think is different with an IPO is, there's a lot of inclusive growth, where, you can have the public having your own shares and kind of, being a part of the growth of the country. So having a venture capitalist, the money is only, the investment is only of a few people. But if you have the IPO working in, and, we have people investment in your company, it's like it becomes a kind of a small national story, that this industry is there, which is moving on. And being maybe one of the first or maybe top 3 from the industry, at least this industry gains an enhanced perception. So Provi, whatever is it can be valued X. So other companies can be better than Provi, it can be valued like 1.5X, or it can be, relatively numbers wise, it can be a little, average from the company, it can be 0.8X. But eventually there is a benchmark now which is there nationally accredited by the National Stock Exchange for others also to move in. And I think this is the thing. And next I would say, there is a visibility recognition, everything is there. What we realized post IPO is a great branding exercise. 10 crore Demat accounts in India, at least 1 crore got an opportunity or got to read about you in a paper, where you could have invested, maybe a few thousand invested, but those many people, they assessed it. So technically there's the brand name that got, recognized in their minds. So I thought IPO was a great branding exercise on the upside for the company, which it's a relatively young company, given that you have people like, Gunjan sitting here with like years of experience, like more than 50 years, Rahulji and all. So for a relatively company, it was a good imprint for us, where, you got some kind of acceptance in the market, and that created a buzz and, a little bit of extra acceptance that we are looking for. I think this is the overall story, I think, of the whole IPO journey, and thank you. Thank you for listening patiently. If you have to ask anything, I'm here.
Questions? Notions, when we take positions, be it almonds or cashews, we don't know, these are open price positions going forward. We don't have any clear visibility to currencies or geopolitical situations. So being into a commodity trade, you think that you face certain questions from your shareholders which might hamper the understanding and the way we run the businesses?
I think it's an important question comparing a public IPO to a venture capitalist or a PE. You had to raise funds, and we did it. I think that's the first part. When you raise funds, you did it either through VC or PE or by an IPO. What we realized, actually, this was discussed earlier also. Actually, with IPO, you have more freedom to work around with the policies that you have. Any VC or a PE which will give you a 20-25% stake money, they will nominate a board on you. The regulations which will come with a PE or a VC will be, in our perception, much, much higher than an IPO, because IPO, technically the board of directors are, with you, working with you, you know them, chosen by you. And if someone is not a significant stakeholder in your company, like, excess of 10% or something, or 15%, I don't think they can, push for a board on the seat. So freedom-wise, IPO, no doubt in my mind, is a much, much better option if you're looking for business freedom. a PE or VC will put 100 norms even before the due diligence or the document is signed. There are a lot of restrictions already put on the paper. There are a lot of, I would say, hurdle that will be put on the paper that year one you have to be here with this number, with this margin. Year two, it all looks on paper, everything looks good when a deal is printed. The final print, there is a lot of details, which is there on the final print. And perception-wise, I think, I said it has helped, overall. Because I think for a young company, there are many places where people, they don't even knew us earlier than this. So at least you are there in the room for this.
As a publicly listed company, you have to give quarterly balance sheet. That's right. Correct? Yeah. So in a commodity market where there is a cyclic and some quarters are really bad.
Yeah.
So how do you think it will affect your shareholders' perspective or the valuation? Because we cannot have every quarter good in the commodity trade.
Obviously.
So are you worried about that?
Yeah. So the first thing, our first results are not out post the listing. So we don't have that feedback or review from the market. I think this will be out in a couple of months. Second thing, there are already big listed commodities company trading around the world. And they are either the market used to live with the expectation that, this will be the normal, kind of volatility in the overall numbers of the company, and how you manage the volatility or hedge your risk, that will ensure that how market will value you. So if there is zero trading, obviously you will be valued more. So if you see the numbers, for the sales that we are having, it can go up to 5x, 6x of the sales also. In terms of what market valuation is there. So this is all built up in the prices before, it is there traded on the exchange. And like I said, there are many international companies, which are doing the same profile, doing the same thing. And on the risk side, I think we have de-risked ourselves a lot. I think on the import side, where we see more volatility, we are more, buying from the local market, which is quite evident from our activities. We have de-risked ourselves. We hardly take any forward bets nowadays. Mostly everything is done on the spot, and this is how you have to manage it. But yeah, you cannot have a lot of volatility on the balance sheet every quarter. But whatever is the norm for the industry, if you are 10%, 20% up and there from that norm, I think you are doing okay.
Hello. Congratulations, Deepak.
Thank you.
My question is that you will be just sticking to the dry fruits, or you have planned to add on other commodities later on, wheat, sugar, and other commodities also?
Mostly in and around dry fruits. Right now, there are no other plans.
You know the plan.
No.
Thank you.
You become more responsible towards your shareholders, but getting into IPO, what I'm trying to see is the comparison between Happilo and Provi. So they're not an IPO based company, but they got funding. So what difference do you think that these two models bring in?
See,
largely?
everything is disclosed in the prospectus if you read everything on the detail, So whatever we will do or whatever we're planning to do is already been told to the shareholder, who has cared to read everything, whatever there in the paper. So we have not said that we will move it from, this will be our core model and we'll move it from there. So that is already, mentioned in the prospectus. Coming back to Happilo, Motilal Oswal, with the valuation they have gotten in the company, and the amount of time we see him on the CNBC TV and all, I think eventually they are also planning to do that. Motilal Oswal, they are trying hard to, get in there. So maybe a couple of years, the planning is there, execution, it depends on, a lot of things like the numbers and all, like how you shape it and how you have to present it to the market. That's what I'm saying. If someone is there, relatively, you can be 2x of that company or 0.5 of that company. But the benchmark is there for the market to give money. So that benchmark, then they have to surpass or whatever, That way it can come in the picture. And most of the news around our industry, I think Happilo did a great job of, spending money and, creating awareness around the whole category. Now what the consumer picks eventually, in that space, Happilo obviously will get the first shot at it. But there will be other companies also who will consumer will compare, So he's doing a great job promoting the, the wholesale bulk industry, converting it into a healthy snacking branding company. So it happens when someone spends so much, it happens for the whole industry. But then you have to be good enough to, convert that shot from him. So he has he's kind of convincing people go to a packaged branded food rather than the loose material. And if you are doing good enough job that, that after, being, placed with him or a couple of other brands, if you are there and if you get a shot, I think you still have an option. At least the industry is being created by him with the money that he's spending. So I think he's doing a fabulous job on that part.
Deepak ji, any questions? Yeah.
I think it's a long shot right now. There's a too big portfolio, I no comment on that. It's tough to assess now. We're not, there yet.
There's one question out of interest, if it is not confidential. Being the first, how did you go about pricing? Pricing your issue,
Pricing the issue.
Because there's no benchmark before. You were the first in that category. So
There's the benchmark, there's no benchmark, obviously. You get some reports, from the market. We were meeting a lot of, venture capitalists and PE funds before the IPO also. So benchmarking wise, you can say that when we planned it and we kind of, filed it, the markets was okay. And benchmarking is mostly, on the industry view only. We have a lot of connect in the industry.
you were compared yourself with the FMCG company in terms of valuation benchmarks, or what is that?
I hope we get benchmarked with the FMCG company. Because, their PEs and all, and, the price to book value is like quite high. Most of the established FMCG company will trade at around 50 to 60 of their price earning multiple. I hope we get there sometime. But right now, because and the share prices today sells us, our benchmarking was lower than what we expected. So technically it gave good returns. So market was willing to pay 50% more than what we are thinking. But it's okay. Even DMart got it wrong. It is 10x from where they listed it. So it's not a big deal.
One more question, again, if it is not confidential. What is the order of magnitude of cost of going for this process of listing? What is kind of?
It's much cheaper than anyone will think here. You can write, everyone will put down a paper and it will be less than that. It's less than 8 figures. So, but more than the actual financial cost is the planning and the effort, which is like big, and, the kind of books that you are carrying. It's more about the financial prudence than the actual financial cost.
In terms of timeline, from start to finish?
the maximum timeline that was there was, one approval that the government took 3 months. Other than that, I think we could have, if one hurdle was not there, we could have done this in 90 days. So one thing took like 4 months or something.
About 3 to 6 months.
I will say on an average it will be like 5 to 6 months, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Start setting the stage for the next session.